All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tea Talks with me, your host, Teaonalamb. Today, I am going to be doing the podcast solo because I haven't actually done a solo podcast in quite a while. Um, the solo podcasts that I posted or uploaded previously are from 2021. So it's been almost 2 years since I've genuinely done a just chatting solo podcast. So I thought that for this week I should just do a solo one and um, just have you and me talking, us hanging out. Because of course that is the whole premise of Tea Talks. Um Next week though I will be having Tristan, my boyfriend, on for uh, a podcast episode, but of course you will have to wait until next week to see what the episode will be about. But I promise it should be funny. But today, I apologize. Today, I wanted to kind of go a little more in the same realm as last week's episode. Last week's episode, if you guys did not already have a listen or at least taken a look at what it was about spirituality, tarot card readings, the universe and its messages. And so I kind of wanted to go in that same realm this time, but not too similar. I really wanted to talk about dreams, and their meanings, at least to me. And not only just the dreams that I have, from just, sleeping and, your REM state or whatever, but I also wanted to talk about just the dreams that I had when I was younger for my future, and to kind of talk about that sense of spirituality, and also just talking about the future and my childhood a little bit more, because that's mainly what I'm really used to talking about and would love for you guys to know a little bit more about me. So let's get started. I just want to first start off with, I'd say, the more easier, simpler topics, like what I wanted to be when I grew up, what I dreamt about constantly when I was young, and how those dreams were crushed. Um, oh, I completely forgot to fix something. Okay, I fixed my mistake. I just forgot to remove something for those that are just audio listeners. I forgot to remove something on the screen for the visual listeners and watchers. It was just something right there, but pay no mind to it. I just forgot to remove it from last week's podcast, but I will be leaving this part in. No worries. This just shows that I'm human. But what I wanted to be when I was very, very young is, I'd say, very different from a lot of other stereotypical female dreams. Um, I'd say, at least from books and movies, people wanted to be a princess, a fairy, um, I don't know, like a dancer, ballerina, all these more like feminine things. But what I wanted to be when I grew up was to work at NASA. Um, that's like genuinely the first like career dream that I've ever had. Uh, but the only reason why I wanted to work at NASA was because of my love for the stars and my love for space. I am in love with stars. I'm in love with space. I'm at like stargazing is one of my number one hobbies. I went stargazing so frequently in 2018. 2019. Um, it's just one of my utmost favorite things to do, and just one of the just greatest wonders of the world, that we are just so tiny in this vast, vast universe that we know absolutely nothing about, but we still know so much about. Especially with the I forgot the name, the upgrade to the Hubble space telescope that was put into space, I believe, last year. That is able to pick up on infrared to develop the photos instead of what the Hubble space did. but still, like, oh my god, like being able to see more detailed photos of black holes and seeing galaxies and stars from millions of light years away that we as humans would never be able to even see with our actual own eyes in person is just so amazing. Um, it's scary, but it's also so beautiful at the same time. But I really wanted to work at NASA to just be able to be one step closer to the stars. And whenever people hear that I said I wanted to work for NASA, they're like, "Oh, you want to be an astronaut?" Like, no, I wanted to be an astronomer. Specifically an astronomer. I wanted to be the people that worked, um, like with I don't know, the people that get the photos from the Hubble Space Telescope and the Newer Telescope, the people that do the research on these nebulas and these stars and it's just all of this. I just wanted to be that. But um I have a NASA sticker on my door, my bedroom door, that my mom put there for me because it was one of the stickers that I had that she found laying around in my room. She decorated both my brother and my doors with our names. And I I'm kind of sad that she used the NASA sticker, not gonna lie. But at the same time, like it reminds me of the dream that I used to have. Um, and it's something that I will always hold near and dear to my heart because I just love the stars. First time I ever saw shooting stars was here in San Jose. Um, I was able to see like just a little bit in Hawaii when I went in 2019, and it was just as beautiful. Um, but one of the first ever that I saw was this huge, super beautifully bright shooting star that, like, if it was framed in a video, went perfectly diagonally across the middle of the screen. Like, it was one of the most magical moments ever that I witnessed, and it's something that just made me so happy. Um, but that dream was crushed. It was crushed, guys. It was crushed so badly. Um, because I failed AP Physics in high school. I'm really bad at math. Yes, I am Asian, but that does not mean that I am going to have, you know, the best math skills in the world, unfortunately. That is my own mistake, and I do understand. But to give you guys an idea of how badly I failed AP Physics in high school, is that I fell asleep during the AP exam. I fell asleep during the AP exam, and yes, that is very embarrassing, but I was just so exhausted from studying, and also I barely understood anything because the professor that I had in high school for AP Physics was such a bad teacher. If I genuinely had a better teacher, I know for a fact that I would have passed and I might be a physics major, or I might have been a physics major and I would not have gone into advertising and given up on my dream of being an astronomer. Um, but regardless, it's fine. Like I passed regular physics with like flying colors because I had a great teacher. I learned so much and I had so much fun. Um, my AP physics teacher, he was just so focused on caring more about robotics and how robots are gonna take over the world and take over our jobs. And like he just always like went on tangents in class and never really truly taught us anything, which I despise him for. So fuck you, Mr. Miller, but it's whatever. Yes, I'm gonna name drop him because he's annoying. Um, but that's like one of the dreams I had when I was a kid. Um, a funnier dream that I had when I was a kid was about pregnancy. I remember in my first elementary school that I attended, I was with a group of my friends, and we all were very weirdly reenacting what we would sound like if we were giving birth. I know kids are weird. Kids are honestly the weirdest thing ever. Um, this is a very embarrassing story that I honestly have not really told that many people, but I think it's funny to tell anyways. No harm, no foul. But um we were all like holding our tiny little kid bellies and we're just like, oh no, when I give birth, I'm gonna scream like ah! And like another girl would be like, no, I'm gonna scream like ah! And we're just doing that. Um so it's not really a dream, but I guess it kind of is a dream at the same time of like we all dreamed of just having children in the future. I don't know. Believe or take that however you would want to. But it's just a funny story that I don't know, I just came up in my brain. Um I'd say like another dream that I had when I was young, not necessarily in elementary school, but when I was young, was I'd say what everybody else's dream is, possibly. It's moving in with all your best friends and being able to become an adult as quickly as possible and move in together because you guys are best friends and you guys would work so well together and just live together happily as a big house just filled with friends, being able to do whatever we wanted in the world. Um, that was one of my dreams, and that kind of also crumbled and shattered into little itty bitty pieces for the only reason that I am gonna turn 23 this year and I still live at home. But that is okay. Um, that is not necessarily the reason why I don't live with them. It's because I'm no longer friends with the majority of the people that I made that plan with. Um, which is okay. Like, we separated, and it's because, we just weren't the best when it comes to being friends with one another. As in, we just didn't work well. We just started clashing. Our personalities just started clashing. So, it's whatever, in my opinion. But I will hopefully be able to achieve that dream in just a few years. That is still a dream of mine, to be able to live with my best friends. The best friends that I still have and that I still hold near and dear to my heart. My best friends, Vivian and Angel, to be able to move in together. But uh, of course, actually being an adult makes things a lot more difficult because dreams, in order to make them a reality, you need to put in so much work. To be able to live in the Bay Area, it costs so much money. As a child, as a middle schooler, we have no understanding of how money truly works in the adult world, so it truly is just a little fantasy dream. But, um, I know that soon, hopefully, I'll be able to fulfill at least a part of that dream. And it'll make me very, very happy to be able to do that finally. But at least accomplish one of the dreams that I had when I was younger, you know? Um, but to move on from the dreams of the future that I had when I was younger, because I honestly can't remember that much in regards to those. But I would like to move on to actual, like, sleep dream. Because I was just talking to Pixie, the partial co host on this podcast, about this dream, and it's something that will always be present in my mind, in my heart. Um, not just my mind and heart, more so my soul and my being. Um, because it was a dream of my grandpa. Um, my grandpa, or in Cantonese and what I call him, Gong Gong, uh, he is the only grandparent that I ever had. His wife and my father's parents, so my Gong Gong is on my mother's side, but his wife and my grandparents on my father's side all passed before I was born, unfortunately, because of old age or sickness. So unfortunately, they were never able to see me, or my brother. We are the children born from the youngest from both families. Um, they were able to see the children of um, my parents' siblings. So at least they were able to witness having grandchildren. So I, am happy about that. But my grandpa, um, I love him so much. He is one of my favorite people in the world, even if he is no longer here with me. He passed when I was 9. It was 2010. It was March. March. March 12th, 2010. So I was barely like 9 years old. October, November, December, January. I was almost 9.5 years old when he passed. Um, and it was something. Honestly, before I get into the story, I want to apologize for the change of direction and um, aura, or what I'm trying to say here. Just like the whole vibe of this part of the podcast. I know it's got really dark really quickly. I guess really dark, more not really dark, more solemn. Um, but I want to talk about my grandpa. I miss him a lot. And but to continue, um, he again was the only grandparent that I ever had, and I love him a lot. One of my favorite people in the world, over my parents, over my boyfriend, over my best friends, over my brother, over literally anyone in the world. It would be my grandpa. And it's because of how well he treated me and how much he loved me. He was able to give me so much joy and happiness in the small amount of time that I was able to consciously remember him and know him. And it came as honestly a very, very big shock to me that he passed, because I was really never exposed to him being ill, nor was I really exposed to him in any way, shape, or form of him being sickly or dying. Um, my mom shielded that from me, and though I am very grateful that I was unable to see my grandpa in these more negative situations, but at the same time, it still hurts my heart to know that I had to find out that my grandpa died um, because of my parents just finally telling me, instead of me being able to really say goodbye to him or see him at any point in time during his last moment. Um, I know that I would not have been as slightly mentally stable as I am now if I were to have seen him in his last moments, or to even see him in the hospital. Uh, so I despise my mom for that, but I still am grateful for her for being able to have me keep more um, positive and beautiful memories in my mind about my grandpa. But why am I giving you guys this backstory about my sad ass last grandpa dying? Uh, because um, after he passed, uh, and I went to his wake, I believe is what Pixie called it. I went to his house that was shared with his two sons and his grandson, my cousin and his my two uncles and my cousin, um, because they held, I believe, a wake. There was a small photo of him and a small shrine that we created. We are Buddhist. We had incense, and we all were there in the foyer of the house. Not really foyer, but partial of the foyer. Um, and we all sat on the carpet, crisscross applesauce, or on our knees, crying. Honestly, I don't remember much. I was very young, um, but all I can remember is me crying after finally coming to the realization of what is going on. And I literally only remember bawling my eyes out. And my cousin turning around and realizing how how much of a mess I was from the situation. And I remember him turning around and looking at me and then just like, like slowly patting me on the knee, telling me in just action that everything will be okay, as comfort to me, um, that things will be better, or you know, to just be there for me. No words were said, just me bawling my eyes out. Um, Reason being, not only because he was the only grandparent that I ever had, but because I was his favorite. um, he always told me that I was his favorite. It could just be the words from a grandpa that he tells to all of his grandchildren, but I truly took those to heart. Um, I'm his favorite. I am the firstborn child of his youngest. Um, he was able to live until all of his children had kids. Um, Sorry, I'm starting to get emotional. But that day, or that night is the night that I had the dream that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm sorry, I'm uh stalling this because I really just want to talk about my grandpa. But that night, coming home, my mom and I cried together. I finally went to bed. And waking up the next morning, I immediately ran to my mom to tell her about the dream I had. Because my grandpa was in. And as someone that is not only Buddhist but spiritual, uh, it is something that comes from my mom. She taught me Buddhism and spirituality, because Buddhism is very in tune with spirituality. But my mom convinced me that it was a spiritual message from my grandpa. And to this day, I'm gonna believe her because it's the last thing that I have of him. Well, not necessarily. He did give me a few other gifts that I still do hold near and dear. Um, but this one thing is truly mine. Because it's my own experience, my dream. He visited me. He wanted to say goodbye to me before he truly, moved on. And it's something that is just beautiful to me. But the dream is very childish. The dream is the dream of a 9-year-old. The dream is in the brain and the imagination of a 9-year-old. But regardless of that, the message itself that comes from the dream means so much that even me, adult Tiana, is still gonna take it to heart. So I apologize for building all of this suspense for a dream that is just gonna be told in just a sentence. And you guys can laugh all you want, but that is okay. The dream that I had that night that I can remember, what the only thing that I can remember from that dream, or those dreams from that night, would be that I was being tormented and bullied and chased by a very, very large Tyrannosaurus Rex. I love dinosaurs. Not only do I love space, but I love dinosaurs. Because dinosaurs are cool. And dinosaurs are amazing. And to be able to just know more about them would be amazing. But we can't tell. I mean, just gonna, think Tyrannosaurus Rex looks like its bones and whatever. We'll go into that in another podcast. But I was being tormented and chased, screaming, and I was running. And then, like a knight in shining armor, my grandpa runs in and puts his hand out and, protects me. I don't know if he said anything or did anything, but I do remember him shielding me and, looking the T-Rex straight in the eyes and, telepathically telling him to leave me alone. Or the Tyrannosaurus Rex to leave me alone. And I believe that's the end of the dream. I do not remember. It's been years since I had this dream, but in all honesty, I do believe that this dream was my grandpa proving to me that even though he is gone, he will be able to continue to protect me from the negatives of the world, the scares of the world, the fears that I have, the problems that I'll have in my life. He will always be there with me, for me, to protect me. And I'll always be his little Lului to him. Lului is like a nickname that he gave for me. It's in Cantonese, and I think it just means girl. I have no idea. I never really put any research into it, but my grandpa called me it, and then both my uncles call me it. But I do believe that it is just um like little girl. I don't think there's anything that special about it, but it's special to me, okay? um but I do believe that I will always be protected by my grandpa, and the thought of my grandpa would always make my heart melt and always make me soft and make me relive the beautiful and funny and amazing memories that I can remember with him, because of how young I was. I can't remember much, which is so unfortunate. But I have lots of photos of me as a baby with him, of me as a toddler, as a very young child, up at the point that he passed. I love him. I really do. Um, if I think about it hard enough and look at the photos that I had with him, I will end up crying. But not today. Not today. Not for you guys. um, but this is where I want to go a little bit more into spirituality, because of that dream that I had. I honestly have not had, luckily, I have not had anyone else in my life pass. Um, my uncle, one of my uncles on my mom's side did pass before my grandpa died. And I did not have a dream of him, but I still did love him, but I was not as close to him as I am with my uncles that I live with, for the reason that I've known them longer because of the unfortunate passing of my uncle. But um other than that, I haven't really had any other spiritual dreams, but I do have dreams that I do believe have meaning. I don't recall any of them, unfortunately, but there have been dreams where I feel like it is not, it's more of a message than just like my imagination or something. But um I do believe that most dreams have meaning, that most dreams are spiritual, that most dreams are somehow a message from someone, whether that be from yourself to yourself or from someone that is visiting you in a spiritual form, like astral projection or whatever. I don't believe in astral projection, but only for the reason that I have never had anyone visit my dreams. Um, in the way that everyone on TikTok does, where it's like, I visited your dream last night and I talked to you and all this and all that, or like, I was able to something, something, something. Like, I don't really believe it because I can't do it. I never tried, and I don't mind not being able to do it. And also that it's difficult to believe something like that. Um, but I can tell you guys a story without naming any names of someone that I know that has also been visited by somebody that had passed. Um, so this person this person's like really close friends passed at a very young age. And because of school and studies, they were unable to visit their friend's funeral. I do not remember exactly if it was the funeral or if it was like a different ceremony slash situation. I don't know what other word to really use. Gathering. But this person was very, very depressed and upset and sad for the reason of not being able to like see their friend off, even though their friend has already passed, to not be able to at least give the respect to their friend, um to see them. And that same night that they were unfortunately busy with a mandatory test that they had to take for school, um which made them unable to attend the gathering. That same night when they went to bed, they actually had a dream of their friend that passed. Not only was it just a dream of their friend, but um, it was my friend at their apartment with a few of their housemates and friends, and the friend that passed came up beside them as they were cooking for the friend family. Um, the friend talked to them and I believe thanked them for everything that they did. And I believe gave them either a bro hug or like a hug. And then they just like continued on with the dream as if it were reality. Finished, ate up the food. And when my friend told me this story, or sorry, not story, this dream, I was taken aback. Not for, not believing them or anything, but more so taken aback by how strong a spirit can be. The will of a spirit can be so strong to be able to go and visit the dream of a friend even after passing. To be able to manifest themselves, to be able to speak, and to be able to express their emotions, their feelings to the dreamer before they are to move on. I find that absolutely amazing. I find that so moving. I find that beautiful. And when I told my friend that 100% it was the spirit of their friend that came to visit them to say goodbye to them, because they knew that they would be busy with school and with the mandatory assignments and tests that they had to do, and that they wanted to come and visit before they moved on, to let them know thank you, to let them know I love you, to let them know I miss you, to let them know I know you tried and I know you're upset and sad that you weren't able to see me before I left, but here I am visiting you instead because I know how badly you wanted to see me before I went. So I will come here to you. And my friend cried, obviously, because I never thought about it that way. They're not really a spiritual person. And they honestly admitted, like, I never really saw it that way. That that is something I honestly never could have thought about. And now that I'm truly thinking about it, they really did visit me, and that makes me like feel a little bit better about the situation. And I'm glad that I was able to like bring them that solace, because of how like heartbroken still that they were of their friend's passing, as it was I believe, quite a while. Not too long, but still quite a while since their friend passed. Um, but I still am very glad that I was able to bring solace in some sort of way to my friend in regards to this very sad situation. Um, but it makes me happy. It makes me sorry, my nose is really itchy. It makes me really happy to like know that spirits are real, but also very scared to know that spirits are real. Um, we can like I definitely want to wait until my podcast episode with Uli, and possibly other people in regards to paranormal like situations and experiences that we or those around us have experienced, because like I said, my dad has a lot of paranormal situations. I have talked about them on stream in the past, but um to put them in the podcast, even if I'm talking about it again, I do not get tired of those stories. Um and I want to tell you guys in the podcast, because then it'll just be something that I can just easily say, hey, if you want to hear some interesting, stories about from my dad, listen to this podcast episode. um, but to not really dive too deep in the paranormal activity subject, um, I truly do believe that spirits exist, and that's why I do believe in spirituality. Because of me not really wanting to believe that the life of somebody will forever be ended. Kind of similar to the premise of Dia de los Muertos, or at least the movie Coco, where if you were to forget your family member or forget your friend or forget the person that had passed and you no longer put them on your ofrenda, um, that spirit will no longer exist, and they would disappear into thin air, because like a memory, the spirit can only live if you are able to remember them, if you're only able to still love them or be able to help embody their spirit within you, within your mind, within your love, within your home. Um, and so I don't really want to believe that spirits just, or that the spirits don't exist, or at least good spirits don't exist, especially the spirits of my family members that passed. For the reason of I will never forget them, for the reason of they will always be in my heart, for the reason that though I am not Latina, Chicano, Chicana, and I don't celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and I don't have an ofrenda, I would say that the ofrenda, if I were to have one, is in my heart and in my mind, and my family members that have passed will always be there. And hopefully that is enough for them to still be staying embodied in some sort of spiritual form to be able to continue to watch after me. I would say that it's very different from believing that my family members are in the heavens looking down, watching over me. I would more likely rather to believe that the spirit world and the human world are one and the same. They walk the same walks that we walk, they drive the same roads that we drive, they are the same as us, they walk the same, they walk among us. We just can't see them. It's best not to acknowledge them, but um, they're here. They're here all around us. Because in every single square inch of the world, someone has died. So I truly believe that we are surrounded by spirits, good and bad. And I'd rather believe that the spirits of my loved ones are here next to me rather than looking down on me. Not in a negative way, of course, but looking down towards me and caring for me up there. I'd rather have them down here with me, caring for me. I feel like that is a little bit more realistic to me. I feel like that fits a little bit more in my beliefs and the spirituality that at least I want to believe in. Of course, that is dependent on everybody's own personal wants and things like that. But that is what I believe. That my grandpa can be here in this room with me right now. That he has been here with me since he has passed. That he will forever be with me wherever I go, watching over me, watching over my family, being there for me. Because I truly believe that he came into my dream that night and told me that he would always be with me. And I love my grandpa, so I'm gonna believe him. But I would definitely like to know if you listeners or watchers are also believers in spirituality, and if you guys have ever had any experiences yourself in which you may have had a family member pass, a friend pass, someone close to you, or someone not close to you at all, but someone you knew in life that possibly near their passing or after their passing, you were able to communicate with them in a spiritual way, in a spiritual world where they are able to take you out of your physical form to be able to have you see them and for you to be able to speak to them. Like, has anyone ever had that experience similar to me, similar to my friend, to where you guys were able to speak with them, or even at least be there after or before their last moments, and to be able to at least spend, even if it is just a few seconds of your time with this person before they were to move on? Because I would love to hear those stories. I would love to be able to just know more and add more to my belief of spirituality, and to hear all the heartfelt stories and dreams that you guys have had. If you guys have, definitely, if you guys have not joined my Discord, there will be a link, the link that I've had used before, I have removed and changed to something new for reasons I would not like to speak about. And but there should be a new link. Definitely join, and please be tame. I really appreciate it if you are. But I would love for you guys to tell me your story. Just come into the general chat and say, hey, I came from the podcast. I listened to the most recent episode, and I have had a dream. Here's my dream, or something. I don't know, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you just want to be a listener, or you already are one of my viewers, I just appreciate you guys listening. But I would love for you guys to tell me these stories if you don't feel comfortable talking about it in more of a, public sense, and you just want to tell me privately, you can still DM me and let me know. But I truly believe in spirits. I truly believe in the spirit world, in the spirit realm, whatever you want to call it. I truly believe in all of that. But that is going to be the end of this podcast. I am ending earlier than the 1 hour mark. I apologize. But a quick little update to those listening. As of today, May 2nd, 2023, it was the first day of my job. And I have to wake up really early in the morning, and I was super busy today because of work and having to handle so many things in my life today on my first day on the job. I had to handle a lot of personal matters, but I was able to squeeze in a podcast episode since I really need to upload this as soon as possible for you guys, because I really want to make sure that I'm consistent with these episodes, and publishing them every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. But I will be recording my episode with Tristan tomorrow, so I'll have time for that for next week, so I won't be as rushed, and it will be able to hopefully meet the 1 hour mark. But hopefully you guys will be happy with a almost 1 hour podcast talking just about a lot of random things again. I'm sorry for having a very sad and solemn large part of this podcast, but I hope you guys at least enjoyed listening to me reminiscing on a beautiful human being that was on this earth. But it is almost 10:30 p.m. for me, and I do need to quickly edit this and upload this and get it ready and scheduled for tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening on any of the podcast platforms that I upload to, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, everything. I don't know. I have this uploaded in a lot of different platforms, but thank you guys so much for listening to my first solo podcast in a while about spirituality and dreams. I hope to see you guys next week. It'll be me and Tristan. Of course, you have to figure out and find out what the topic will be for next week. But I had a lot of fun. I had a nice time talking with you guys and reminiscing about my grandpa and thinking about the nice dreams that I've had and how I'm just a few years off from fulfilling one of my childhood dreams. So it's fine. Thank you guys again so much for watching, for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever time it is for you. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye!